Hey, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for being here. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to both introduce yourselves and introduce the convoy and let us know what it's all about.
Yeah. You want to kick it off?
Sure. My name is Yasin. I am one of the founders of the Convoy. I actually just sold my last business last year. Before that, I spent um, 18 months in the restaurant space, actually working with small businesses for my previous startup. And before that, I was in banking for 5 years. So all aspects of working with businesses. And it's culminating in building what we're doing here at the Convoy.
And I'm Melanie Diesel. I am one of the co-founders of the Convoy. And what's super exciting about what we're building is, much like you all, we get to work with small businesses all day, and they are some of the most important, pieces of our community. So it's super exciting for us. Essentially, what we're doing is pooling the buying power of small businesses to help them get discounts on products and services. So it's a way for us to help make sure we're supporting them and helping them thrive. And that, feels like we're all on board the same train there, trying to make sure we're sort of future proofing our small businesses in our community.
Yeah, definitely. So the convoy, it's a great name. Where did it come from?
It's funny that you say it's a great name. We have had some competition from a search perspective on the Convoy recently. The name came. It was quite a long time ago. A little over a year ago, I think. Really, what we were looking to do is try to figure out, like, what kind of word would represent the strength of coming together, the ability for small businesses to combine their power, to protect one another, to help one another. And a convoy of ships is exactly that purpose. So if you're not a seafaring individual, which I wasn't, we did some research, a convoy is when all of the ships would sort of they would travel together and navigate together in an effort to ward off pirates, right? So these pirates who want to come in and take what they've worked so hard to create, sort of take over their space. Well, we're sort of trying to do the same thing, but for small businesses on land. Although I guess if a small business was on the sea, they could join too.
I mean, as a supply chain nerd, which I am, I loved the idea that there is, a convoy, a shipping convoy. So it's like a little homage to supply chain in general. So it's exactly what Melanie said. Power in numbers, and that's exactly what a convoy did.
Awesome. And so you said that the idea came about a year ago, or the name came about a year ago. When did the idea form? When were you both like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start this business and we're going to form, get some other co-founders on board and go for it?
The name was about a year ago, but the idea was way, way longer ago than
I
that.
feel like this idea came to me when I was in diapers. That's how long I've had this thing on my mind. But seriously, so I grew up, my parents immigrated here. They ran small businesses my entire life. My father actually graduated top of his class from the best engineering school in the entire Middle East. And he immigrated here, started building these businesses. We had all at different times, a restaurant, bread and pastry distribution business. We had lunch trucks. We had a bunch of different businesses all at different times. And I always saw my parents struggle, even though they were the hardest working people that I knew. And what it ended up turning into for us was, or what I witnessed out as the oldest of four boys working at all these businesses, is constant struggle and always working with other people like my dad. And those are the people that I wanted to fight for, the underdogs, really. And as I got older, I realized that they are the heart, like literally the heartbeat of a local economy. And when you think about what it means to help them out, what you're actually doing is enabling companies, businesses that are actually injecting a ton more capital, a ton more better paying jobs, and a lot more revenue going back into the local economy that they're in. When I think back to my father, and I think back, wow, why did my father struggle so much? Why did it feel like we grew up with not that much? But then I look at what impact he had just by being a business owner. He employed dozens of people in his businesses. That is impactful. And when I think about where that money ended up going to, it actually went back into the local economy. So what was happening was, as my father was building these businesses and people were shopping at his customers' businesses, the money, when you follow the money, it actually stays in the local economy. So the idea came about just by wanting to help people like my dad do better for themselves while doing great for the local economy, for people in our neighborhood, in our community. And there are ways to do that. And one of those ways is by keeping money in their hands, lowering their costs.
Yes, and that's what you guys do. So I know you explained the convoy, and I've had multiple conversations with you guys. So I have my head wrapped around it, but I know when I was first learning about the convoy and going through your website, I had a few questions. So you're a marketplace for small business owners. So what exactly are you doing to make their lives easier? So what can they expect to find on their marketplace or when they join your community? Is that the right way you would say that?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now it's completely free to join. So invite everyone here. Please go ahead, theconvoy.com, check it out. We have a whole marketplace. You're familiar with when you're shopping online, you see the tiles of the different offerings. Essentially on the Convoy, those offerings are money-saving deals for tools and services that you may use for your business, including, those of you here listening. So everything from website hosting, right? Bringing down the cost of hosting your website, bringing down the cost of hiring a designer to make a flyer for you or design your business card, all the way up to, we've got physical products too. So if you need masks, you need cleaning supplies, you need office supplies, right? All of those things. There are over 200 different discounts that we've already pre-negotiated for any member of the Convoy to just go ahead and claim those discounts and start saving. The fun part, and I think this is fun, I know that gifting is really important from a client standpoint, as you all are, building your client base and working with local communities, local small businesses. We have a huge gifting section. So, there's discounts for sending flowers, chocolate, scones, edible arrangements, there's all kinds of fun stuff. So even though it doesn't seem like a typical business expense, we've got you covered on all fronts with the self-serve marketplace side of the business.
And it's really just the tip of the iceberg, which is nice. So as we're learning more about users that are signing up on the platform, we're learning about what they actually need and want on the platform. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is actually pretty simple. We are taking the buying power of what all of our businesses represent, and we are going to the vendors who want your business, who want the business of your customers too, to actually shop with them. They're spending a ton of money to try to access these customers. We want those customers to actually leverage their buying power together so that we can go to the vendor and say, hey, you want the business of all these small businesses? You can have it. They're willing to do business with you. They would love to, but you got to give them better pricing. We're going to make it easier for you to do business with them. And that's how we get exclusive discounts, 30% off, 50% off.
Months free. Yeah. Credits. I think we have over $3,000 in ad credits that are like free money just there. Mm-hmm. If you sign up, you can use $1,000 Google ad credit or $1,000 Yelp credit, all kinds of really helpful deals. So, at the end of the day, really everything that we're trying to do is to make it easier for these small businesses to survive, to, help mitigate risk for them, which I know I think I'm with kindred spirits here, right? Trying to just make life easier for these small businesses so that they can keep doing what they love and then what their communities love them for.
And again, because it's the tip of the iceberg, these deals that we're getting now, they're only going to get way better the more people that join the platform. So it's actually the growth of it actually helps everybody else in the community as well.
Yeah. What you're doing is very unique and it's so important, so powerful. And Yasin, you mentioned the importance and the value of small business, and you learned that from your father and you saw that from everything that he was doing. But can we dive a little bit deeper into that value? So can you explain the importance of supporting small businesses and ways that people can do it without maybe them realizing that they're supporting them?
Yeah. I'll talk about the importance and then you can talk about how people can support. So there's actually really well-researched data that's come out about the power of shopping local or about supporting these locally owned businesses. And it has a lot to do with micro and macroeconomics. So without putting everybody to sleep, because this is not an economics class, essentially what it does is when you're spending money, let's use restaurants as an example. When you're spending money as a consumer at a franchise, at a larger organization's restaurant location, about 30 cents or 32 cents of every dollar that you spend gets reinvested back into the local economy, gets reinvested to other vendors that are local, gets reinvested back into salaries or people that are spending money in that local economy. The exchange of money is diluted by the 68% of the dollar that doesn't stay in that community. So 32% of that money gets stays in that local community, and it has a domino effect. It gets respent. It gets spent at the local barber. It gets spent at really whatever local business you can imagine that dollar gets spent at. That's where it stays. But when you think about an independently owned restaurant, that number skyrockets to over 70%. 78%, I believe, is the most recent info on restaurants. When you're talking about retailers, like Walmart, a massive organization, massive company, a retail company, right? Only about 12% of their revenue goes back into the local economy. That's a dismal number. When you're talking about a locally owned business that is reinvesting over 50% of their dollars back into the local economy, that's huge, because again, the domino effect is the money stays in the economy, the money gets spent at other local business owners, and actually the overall wealth stays and increases in that local economy. So we're talking about actually redistributing how that money gets spent and where that money stays. Instead of sending it to a corporate headquarters in a city that nobody has a connection to, you can actually keep it right in your local economy to get respent by others near you. Support your neighbors. So they're incredibly important and incredibly valuable to the local economy.
And that has so many domino effects that, not just the dollars as well, but we know that communities that have really rich batches of small businesses, locally and family owned businesses, they tend to attract more people who move to the area, right? People want to be around unique places. It prevents people or decreases the likelihood of people leaving the area. So we're keeping people in our community. We're keeping our cities, full of vibrant, families and community members. And we also know that it tends to, believe it or not, I can't explain this one, but there's data to back it up, that people actually have a lower mortality rate and lower obesity rate, right? We're giving them a main street. We're giving people destinations to go, right? When you have these small business clusters. So as crazy as it might sound, when you're supporting these small businesses, like, you're keeping your neighbors employed, you're keeping them healthy, you're keeping your city vibrant, you're attracting new neighbors. So there's a lot to be said for that, even, beyond what you might expect.
I think something that's really overlooked, maybe not by this audience and maybe not in the present company, but something that is severely overlooked is these independently owned businesses represent 44% of the US GDP. We're talking about a massive, massive number that sits in the trillions. That's how big this economy is. And when you talk about how many jobs are created, or how many people are employed by independently owned businesses, whether you're self-employed or you employ others, we're talking about half of the country's workforce are in these independently owned businesses. So it's incredibly important, because these jobs also tend to pay better, and they tend to, again, reinvest back into that local economy. So we're talking about really preserving the American dream, making it so that business ownership is still accessible, because we are mitigating the risk of running a small business. Coterie is doing that. We're doing that. And it's very important for maintaining a main street that is investing and reinvesting back into that local economy. I could talk hours on end about the numbers behind how important social.
And I can admire that. I'm listening and I'm observing this. I'm like, where's my notepad? I also admire this.
We can exchange notes. I have a lot of numbers.
I was going to say, we talked a lot about money and how you can support, by shopping at these small businesses. But, I also imagine that a lot of you are looking for ways to connect with small businesses that may not involve spending money. Of course, you're probably already a patron of local businesses, but you're also trying to build a book of business, right? You're trying to connect with new small businesses. So would love to talk about some kind of creative ways that you can support and connect with small businesses, if that's something that would be helpful.
Yeah, could you share a few?
Of course, yeah. So the number one thing you can do is find ways to sort of be an advocate for them. So what I mean by that is, you probably know, like, I should leave them a review. If I've gone to a business and I've had a great experience, leave them a rating or a review, whether that's like for a product on their website, on their, Google My Business page, on Yelp, or whatever makes sense, Angie's List, whatever rating system makes sense for that business. That's a no-brainer and a very easy way you can capture their attention.
Low-hanging fruit, for sure.
Very much so. Like, that's going around and leaving reviews for all the businesses that you are a patron of around your community is a great way to make sure they know your name, right? As long as that's a review worth remembering, a great way to make sure they know your name. But the other thing is that there's other ways you can be sort of an evangelist. I think we sort of underestimate the power of the other parts of our lives. So by putting things from small businesses on your wish list at holiday times, or buying gifts for others from small businesses, you're on the PTA and we're thinking of what prizes should we have for the raffle, like suggest local businesses are the ones that, will get the wine from this local store. We'll get the, a gift basket from this local boutique, finding a way to kind of advocate to others in your community that this is a business you should check out on my behalf, or, because I'm sending you there. I think that's sending people there is probably one of the best things you can do.
And one of the things that you'll start learning when you see that happening and when you're putting that into action is that they are very excited to support their own local community as well. So while you might find yourself going maybe the easier route of going to a larger organization or a chain, they're not going to engage with you beyond selling whatever it is that you just bought from them. If you're working with local, they are all of a sudden going to be very interested in working with you further, they're very interested in building the relationship deeper with you and with the organization that you're with. So if you are working with a PTA, they're probably going to go above and beyond what you ask from them. They're probably going to say, how else can I get involved? They're probably going to say, who else can I bring to the table? Because they tend to support each other as well. So who else can I bring to the table? How can I help you make this event a success? They are very involved locally. And that's because they are, by default, investing into that local economy. They are both beneficiaries of and benefactors of that community. So they want to be involved. They want that community to win. So give them easy ways to win.
The other thing that is, go ahead, Paige.
No, you go.
I was going to say, we all know the power of social media to some degree to build our business, but we probably think of it as like, running ads or things like that. But don't forget that you have such a powerful tool in your pocket as you are making your way through the community. Look for opportunities to take photos of a local business. They have beautiful flowers out front. Like, that's something you can share and tag that business. As you're doing your own shopping, as you're picking up your dry cleaning, all those moments. I like to say you should mine your life for content, right? So we're like looking for those hidden gems. And I can almost guarantee that throughout just the course of your regular day, you're coming into contact with several small businesses that could potentially be clients either then or down the line. And so just taking those opportunities, if you're going to post and say what a beautiful day it is, post a photo that happens to have a small business in that photo, tag them in it, right? These are ways that you can be both an advocate for them. Like, your followers can say, oh, wow, there's a new bagel shop. I gotta go check that place out. But also, again, the more times that these folks are seeing you, that you wrote a review and you followed them and you've shared this photo of their beautiful flowers out front, that is just going to almost guarantee that when you walk in there at some point to sort of build that face-to-face relationship, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, I read the review that you wrote. Thanks so much for that. Or, oh yeah, I saw that gorgeous photo. We really appreciate it. We worked so hard on that. That just these little nudges, a little way to say like, hey, I'm here. I'm here in your community. I see you, I shop with you, I support you. And, hopefully that's the beginning of a deeper relationship where you can help them mitigate other risks that they may be facing and kind of become an even bigger supporter of their business by helping keep them afloat.
Yeah. I think you guys touched on a lot of like what I wanted to talk about on the value that small business has. And I really think insurance agents are in such a unique position to help small businesses, especially individuals that are using Coterie, because it's all small business insurance, right? So everything that you just said are 100% ways that they can kind of show their face to potential clients without actually going about it in a salesy way, like to be supportive. So besides all of those things that you had said, what should they be doing to reach their audience outside of that and their community? So in a way, this we can talk about anything here. It doesn't have to be writing reviews or taking a picture, which I love that idea, and I'm going to steal that as a post for sure to post on Twitter's Instagram. I honestly love that, and I think that's a great way.
Definitely.
But what other ways are like best practices?
Yeah, I think one of the maybe frequently overlooked strategies, and it's something that helps both sides, is if you, and you should, take a consultative approach to selling. If you throw selling out the window and you just think, how do I help this person? How do I listen to them? How do I hear what they're saying and really understand it? Not worrying about, oh, are they going to sign? Are they going to buy? Just worry about translating what they're telling you into the set of solutions that they're asking for. If you can do that with one person, with one connection, and you provide super deep value, because the Coterie suite of products are exactly valuable to small businesses, and there aren't many businesses that have a brand like Coterie that are actually hyper focused on small businesses, that are giving products that are very focused on SMBs, small businesses. So when there is one, and you are providing significant value to them, dig deeper, listen more, translate that into the set of solutions on your side that makes sense. And once you have an advocate, somebody who really understands the value that you just provided to them, and you have a deep relationship with them, it's going to be very easy for you to get genuine referrals from their network of business owners, because they all do business with each other. I used to think that a restaurant is competing with the restaurant across the street. That's actually not true. They actually want to support each other, because somebody who's eating Italian tomorrow is eating pizza today, is eating sushi on Thursday. And if that local downtown area, for example, is attracting people for whatever reason, they're actually cross-selling to each other. So if you treat one of them incredibly well, they are going to talk about you.
Yeah.
And they're going to want their downtown, their main street to succeed. It's in their best interest to do so. So you better believe that they're going to be talking to each other, and the value that you provide is going to be will be shown over time when you start seeing that. When you ask them if they can introduce you with a specific ask, can you introduce me to the Italian restaurant across the street? Do you know them? They'll probably, in a lot of instances, say, yeah, actually, I do know them. You should talk to them. Talk to Manny, the manager that works on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because he does this. Tracy, she's in on Wednesdays and Saturdays. They'll actually help you. They will become your advocates as long as you're doing right by them. And by providing a solution that is specific to what they need, you are doing right by them, because everybody else is trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. They're trying to fit an enterprise product or an insurance product, or really any product that is not meant for them. But they're trying to make it work for them. You guys actually have a product that is working specifically for them. Square peg, square hole, perfect fit. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually get referrals that way. Just ask for them after you provide value.
And if you're looking for more ways to kind of initiate that conversation, if you want to like introduce yourself and you're not sure quite how to go about it, you kind of want to take what we were talking about for how you support those small businesses and flip it on its head. What are the ways that you can get involved with them in a more organic way? So look for opportunities in your community to volunteer, right? If there's folks who are doing cleanup downtown, you can also go ahead and like sponsor the local kids soccer team or soccer league. I've seen really awesome plays that are offline we're so excited about digital, but offline can have such great power locally. So, sponsor a highway, or like the median, the grassy area between the main street, right? Sponsor a bench in the park. Like there's lots of really cool, small offline, analog ways that you can get your name out there. And again, I think if you see community events, so that could be community raffle or a festival or, anything like that, that's an opportunity for you to go there and be a part of it. And sort of more organically start those conversations. And then, of course, there's the more formal way too. So you probably have within your community a small business association, a chamber of commerce. There may be a chapter of BNI or other professional organizations, Restaurateurs of America, right? You may be able to find those kinds of organizations where, again, take a value-driven approach. Maybe you can present to the group and say, hey, I'd love to share some of the common risks that that you may not think of as you're starting this business. Be educational, share your knowledge. And that's a great way for you to provide value to a very targeted group of folks. But again, I think it's just being active, being really curious about what their challenges are, and finding ways to connect with them that aren't focused on selling, that are focused on having fun or connecting with your neighbors or teaching them something.
If you think outside of the value that you can provide outside of insurance, you can actually provide a ton of value as well, because in what you're doing, you're very likely to be meeting a lot of small businesses. And guess who small businesses also tend to sell to? It's not always consumers, it's other businesses. So when you're thinking about talking about a contractor for housework, they probably refer a lot of business to other contractors that specialize in things that they don't specialize in.
Painters, flooring, realty, like the web of how these small businesses are connected is it's so hyper connected. So you can be a node that's kind of connecting these folks to one another.
That should be your goal. Your goal shouldn't be to sell insurance. Your goal should be to be that node. Because if you can be that super connector, guess what? Those connections are going to come back to you too.
That is incredible, and it makes so much sense. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but I do have a question, and it's completely opinionated. What do you think is more, or do you think it's appropriate when an insurance agent is maybe doing something within the community to use social platforms to talk about it? Do you think that there is more value in just being that member of the community and getting that word of mouth referrals? Or do you think that there is value in doing both social media and getting out there?
I think,
this is very much a Melanie question.
My answer with marketing is 99% of the time the answer is it depends. But this time there is a very good answer, which is yes, absolutely. You should be trying anything and everything that you can. The best way to have the perfect marketing plan is to try all of the options that are available to you as you're able to. You don't have to do it all at once, and to figure out what works and then do more of that. So you may find there are some communities, particularly smaller communities, where maybe in person is really the way to go. If you're in a town that has like sub 40,000 people, I'm going to guess that those kind of communities are very in person. It's very who everyone's family went to school with everyone else's family. There's like I used to babysit that police officer, generational bonds that are there, right? So in those communities, the in-person bonds, being at the community center, being at the senior center festival, being at the, the championship for local football team, that's going to be where you start to build those bonds. If you're looking at a bigger city, more of a metro area, New York City, or, we're down here in Raleigh in the Research Triangle, there are a lot of bigger communities where you could go to baseball games all day and you're never going to meet everybody in New York City, So I think it depends somewhat on the size of the community you're trying to integrate with. But I think in general, try a little bit of everything. Go in person, try social media, do some offline ads, do online ads. There's lots of opportunities to try different things out and see what works specifically for your community, for your audience, and for your message.
And Yasin, this might be a question for you.
We'll see. Melanie's smarter than me, so she could probably just answer everything.
So you guys talked about getting involved in the community and saying yes to doing a sign for a baseball team or sponsoring a bench and doing all these things. You can't always be a yes person. We all know that. What advice would you give someone who's trying to find the right balance? If a small business comes to them and says, hey, do you think you could sponsor this baseball event? But last week they did a lacrosse team or something. And when is it too much? And when should they say no? Does that make sense?
It's a very good question. I think it comes back to reassessing what actually works. So when you do try something, you have to take an approach of, this could be the wrong thing to do. I need to find out if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. So I need to pay attention to the data that comes after it. And, I get the sense that that you're actually asking how to navigate saying no when you're asked to participate. So I will take the liberty in assuming that that's accurate, instead of saying, yes, go ahead, sponsor everything. But how you say no, I think, look, if you're being consultative and being real with people, and like you're building your business the right way, which is people know you, people see you as a real person and not just an entity or like a logo. And they really get to know you personally, and you get to know who they are. And you've been asking questions enough where you're actually getting them to ask you questions too, because they like you, and they are excited that you're actually listening to what they say. You can just be real with them, and having to say no is a reality that they understand as well. So I wouldn't say, yeah, we need to spend as much money as possible because every week I'm being asked to sponsor a different lacrosse team. And now every lacrosse team that's going against each other is sort of, I'm sponsored by me. That's obviously not the right scenario. I think these are business owners. You are business owners. And a reality of business is that there are not unlimited budgets. So I think once you're building your brand the right way, which is just being straightforward and honest with people, because again, you're taking a consultative, real approach with people, saying no is just a reality. It's okay to say, no, I can't do that. I wish I could. Honestly, I wish I could, but we can't sponsor everything. So but we should talk about what the budgets for sponsorship is going to look like next year. But that's just a reality, and I think they would understand that as long as you're being real with them.
Yeah.
They shouldn't just see you as deep pockets to sponsor things. They should see you as, that's the person that helps me with stuff that I need.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully when you're setting out your marketing plan and deciding which of these things you want to experiment with, I really recommend setting a very clear budget, because especially if you like your community and you like these folks, it's very easy you might actually want to do all of those things. So having a budget and a timeline to fall back on for yourself makes it so much easier to say, hey, I actually just sponsored the hopathon that they were having for heart health last week. So I've used up my budget for sponsorship for this month. But why don't you talk to me in the fall when you're doing this such and such festival? Because I don't have that booked up yet. As long as you've plotted out, I'm spending this money in these periods of time, and giving yourself time to look and say, well, I sponsored the hopathon last month and I didn't get any leads and I didn't get anyone, to talk to. I didn't see results that were important to me from that. Then maybe, come the fall, I'm not going to sponsor that hopathon again, or I'm not going to do it next year. And so I have some space for a new experiment in that time. So setting your goals, really clearly ahead of time and understanding your budget and pacing will allow you to make more informed choices about when you can say yes.
Now, as far as who you should be saying yes to and who you should be saying no to, and being honest about who you can say yes and no to, I mean, the priority should be your existing customers, your existing, like, people that you're actually doing business with. Because it's good. I mean, think about the message that it sends, where if you're already a customer of ours, I don't need to sponsor anything. We already are a customer. That's not the right look. If you're hoping to get somebody's business and you're looking to sponsor something because you're hoping to get their business, that's also not the right move, because it makes it transactional and not consultative. It makes it, there's a dependency in there that requires you spending money with them for them to be willing to spend money with you. You don't want to build a transactional business like that. You want it to be consultative. You want to be a person that they go to solve problems for them. And when you think, and then I know the numbers around the business side of the stuff, but on the marketing side, what are the statistics around like how much cost effective is it to retain an existing customer versus finding a new one?
Yeah, I think, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I think you all probably know this in your gut. It is so much easier to keep the ones you've got than to start all over and have to court new customers. So yeah, that's a really good point to say that as we're thinking of all these ways to get involved in the community, to support local businesses, make sure you are kind of keeping those current customers and even past customers who may come back again. Keep them close to your heart. Make sure you're showing them all the support and love too, because not only are you helping to retain them, but again, you're sending that signal to the others, like, these are my people and I take care of them.
Deepen those relationships.
Yeah,
deepen those relationships. I think the number was, I think it's 7 times more expensive to get a new customer than it is to retain an existing one.
That is crazy that you remember all these numbers. Not so off topic, but Mel, I thought you were going to actually know the number off the top of your head. I was like, they study stats. They know everything, and they just absorb. I was very jealous. If you were able to tell me that number, I was like, wow, I am so jealous that they can just remember all these important statistics.
I'm a
It's
numbers
funny.
nerd.
We have our roles, and Yasin remembers all the numbers, and I'm doing more like the story and marketing stuff. So when he started to hand it to me, I was like, dang it, I don't remember the number.
But I'm the numbers person, so easy for me. I'm a numbers nerd.
But,
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure it was
probably. All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys being here. This was a great conversation. You provided so much value to insurance agents within this group that are doing this small business challenge, and I can't wait for your episode to come out. Comes out Thursday.
It is, yeah. And I think we talked a whole bunch about content. So that'll be fun. If you are looking for ways to create on social media and connect, to local businesses, hopefully that conversation is going to be a lot of fuel for you. But I also just wanted to say thank you to all of you that are here, because I know that there is so much pressure on you as a business owner to be out there and be doing all of these things. So thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself, to do challenges like this, to get involved, to learn, some of the things that we're able to share, because I think that's better for your business in the long run, but it's also better for the small businesses that you support. And so for that, we thank you for supporting small in your way. The work that you do makes the work that we do easier and better, and vice versa. So glad to be on this ship with all of you, headed in the same direction.
My only ask of everybody as well is, if you do have, so you're all going to be centers of influence in your local communities, in your business communities. As you're hearing what their troubles and problems are, and what things they need solving for, if it's something that we can do, which is help them get better pricing on things, let us know. Please help us by being our ears, and by being their advocates as well, so that we can create something that is really specific to these independently owned businesses, that helps them lower their costs. And we don't know every industry, so it'd be awesome to hear from your customers and clients what those things are. So just drop in a chat, let us know. It's actually me that listens to it. So it would be great if you have that feedback for us.
And here's the thing, we'll let you take all the credit. So you tell us what the problem is, we'll figure out how to fix it, and then you let them know that you got it fixed, so you can take the credit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. After we're done recording this, I do want to let everyone know I will put the Convoy website on this post, as well as how you can follow them on social media and get connected. Is it okay if they reach out via DM, or would you prefer like an email?
If you go ahead and reach out to us, if you find us on social media, you're welcome to DM us. We're talking business all the time. Our website is right here, so theconvoy.com. Feel free to check it out. Like Yasin said, there's a chat window that will pop up if you're on our website and you're actually chatting with Yasin, so feel free. But yeah, you can also just send an email to hello@theconvoy.com and we'll check it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Paige.
Yeah,
take care.
Thanks
Bye.
for having us.